Welcome, everybody, to the Project FITFO podcast. I am your host, Mark Rodriguez. Once again, we have a very special guest. Now, I say this every single time. I do. I really do. And I actually explain this every single time, too, because I do say I have a special guest because I truly believe the people that I have across from me are very special. And this one here, it's near and dear to my heart.
Right here.
Because right here, just right, a little spot, though. But that's because we have a great history and a great story between me and you that, you know, is only almost a year.
It's about to be a year, I think, next month.
About to be a year that we even met.
That first DM.
That first DM. Did you slide in my DMs?
I did.
He slid in my DMs.
Double-hearted it.
And we have built a great relationship, which has been pretty cool. And I've watched this young man grow to an awesome entrepreneur. And we're going to talk about his success here. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Baby Gesus Martinez, my man.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ooh, with the little soundboard. That soundboard is dope.
You feel very welcome right now.
I do.
Exactly. So, do you go by Baby Gesus?
I actually do.
You do. I know you do. So.
It's really funny because I think I told you the story like yesterday because we were talking on the phone. And it was just like one of my mentors when I was younger. I was always with just Jesus. And then he had a little bobblehead and those little, like an actual Jesus statue with a bobblehead on his Jeep. And he was like, you know what, bro? This is just me being like 15 years old. And he's like, I'm going to just start calling you Baby Jesus. And from there, and then after the military and got out, and I was like, all right, I'm going to stay with Jesus. And then I was like, man, what's something that I can put on my Instagram that's going to be like different? And I was like, all right, Baby Jesus Training.
But you also changed the Jesus from a J to a G.
Yeah.
Now, did you do that legally?
It was too expensive.
Oh, hey, that's fair.
Because then I would have to reach out to the military, social, passport. It's the whole hassle. But
okay, so then it's Jesus is your actual name.
Naturally, yeah, just
Gesus Martinez, Gesus Martinez. And then you go by Baby Jesus, and everybody actually spells it with a G.
Yeah, everybody thinks it actually is with a G.
Yeah,
and which is the goal.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted.
It's beautiful. You set yourself apart, already making yourself unique to the outside world.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was the goal. Just trying to stand out the second that somebody sees my name and they're like, Jesus, yeah. And just randomly, I'll have like random people like either that I've met through Instagram or from somebody else meeting somebody else, and they're just like, oh, you know Baby Jesus? And then just from my Instagram. And I'm like, oh, that's dope. It's just somebody recognized me, and it feels nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us where you're from. First of all, tell us how old you are. How old are you?
Okay, I'm 28 years old.
28?
28 years
28,
old.
okay. You seem like you're like an old soul. Like,
everybody always says...
It was hard for you to say 28.
Yeah, I be forgetting.
Yeah?
Everybody thinks, sometimes they ask, and I'm like, all right, 32, 35. Oldest I got is 40.
Yeah, I don't see 40.
I don't see it either.
But
it's just the beard.
Yeah. But 28 years old. Okay, and then where are you from?
Dallas, Texas. I was born and raised Oak Cliff, to be exact.
Okay, Oak Cliff. Tell us a little about that. How was it growing up in Oak Cliff? Because I've heard some stories about Oak Cliff.
You know what's funny, man? Yesterday, I actually passed by there for the first time in, I would say, a year. And I just went by in my old neighborhood and drove in the house that I was, of course, raised in for like majority of my years when I was younger. And it was one of those like grateful moments and blessings to just see how crappy I guess I was raised. And didn't notice it, of course, at the time. It was normal. And then being able to be like where I'm at now. So I would say it's the hood, but I never even considered myself like gangster hood or didn't even associate myself like that. I was around it, but didn't really care to be in it.
So speak a little bit about your family dynamic. So as you grew up.
Oof. Damn.
Family, you thought it was going to be easy? You thought this was a game?
I thought it was going to be, what's your favorite color? What skill sets do you think?
Do you like long walks on the beach?
I do like holding hands? They get clammy.
Okay. But so I'll remember that next time I try to hold your hand. So we're going to move forward now.
Okay.
And go back to... Okay. No, so your family dynamic.
Family dynamic. Both my parents are... immigrants. Mom is from Noveleta, Tamaulipas, right across the border. Same thing, my dad. I would say it's like the typical Mexican household, right? They moved from Mexico, moved to Dallas at the time. It was regular upbringing, like I guess like just really broke and poor and just hardworking people. I love my dad. I love my mom to death. But there was, of course, a lot of growing up that I witnessed through it because they got divorced when I was like 12. And there was a choosing point of like having to pick like who am I going to move with at that time. And my dad was an alcoholic. My mom was a cheater, unfortunately. Didn't know it until later down the road. And I was 12 with my siblings, having to move everything. We had finally, I guess, got to that point of like leaving Oak Cliff, and we got to a nicer neighborhood, back to nothing. And I chose my mom, of course, because I don't know any better. I love my mom. So I was able to move down to Mexico with my mom. My dad stayed here. And then that is, I guess, the biggest shift of like how, I guess, terrible it was growing up and having to live that split childhood with not knowing what happened. And, damn, that's tough. And then really understanding what being broke and poor is when I lived in Mexico. Like moving house to house, which is wild to think about. House to house, family member to family member, family members that don't like you, like trap houses. There was one of those like meth houses kind of style looking like houses that we live in, and just jumping back and forth for, I would say, like 3 years. That whole time was like one of the biggest shifts to me, and then that dynamic was just tough. Having nothing, being with people that don't care about you. Family was there, but not as supportive. Then I was able to actually move with my dad when I was 15, I think. And he, of course, was like, hey, come by. I want to see you. Like, come over here to Dallas and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. I would love to go visit my dad. I haven't seen him in like 3 years. Came over here to Dallas, I think like at 14, 15 years old. Came back, and it was just my dad and I. And we immediately started working. I didn't know I thought it was going to be the summer. I was going to hang out, do all these great things, and which we did, I would say, to an extent. But my dad's a hard-working man. He's a carpenter, carpenter. So all we did all summer was like just work. But to be honest, I loved it, and it was great. It was being able to actually share a bond with my dad. Like I lived every single day with him. Woke up at like 5 a.m., did the hard labor work with him, got paid like nothing, and I was able to like get my first Xbox through just helping him out. And over time, I think that relationship grew in between my family and everybody. But as I got older, just shifted even worse. Not for the best, but I was able to understand the thought process of like my family, how they view life, how my mom was when they were doing their thing, how my dad is now. And, it's just a big shift. It was a lot of happy, a lot of sad. It made me very independent, extremely independent. So just also not knowing what I didn't know.
And it's funny because I appreciate you, by the way. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story because that wasn't forced. That's coming from you.
Yeah.
So yeah. I appreciate that. Just remember that, and this isn't me advising you, but this is me, listening to you. As you're talking, I can see why you're who the person you are today, the success that you have. And that's because you've taken those as learning lessons and you're transforming that. See, the big thing is that you have the ability to change the dynamic of your lineage.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. I realize that in my family, is that I can change the whole trajectory of my lineage by my actions, by taking what I've learned from the past and what my parents and those before them did and changing it. And you've actually have done that a lot.
Thankfully.
From what I've seen. From what I've seen.
Yeah.
You have definitely changed those things. But you've had your hardships as well.
Oh yeah.
So I'm assuming that at this point, you're 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
You're working hard.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the age where you're like graduating high school.
Yeah, it was about that time frame when it was like it was just my dad and I, and of course just raising myself. At that point, my dad was just like, "All right, I am raising you financially, but there ain't nothing there."
Mm-hmm.
I remember walking into a lot of times with my dad and be like, "Dude, I love you," and he'd be like, and I'm like, "Say it back," and he'd be like, and I'm like, "All right."
Yeah.
Fine.
Because a lot of that generation was raised that way.
Yeah, yeah.
They were raised with that type of, you don't say as a man, you don't
Say I love you.
say I love you and get onto your emotions. Completely shift different with the way the generation is now.
Correct.
Where we're always talking about people's emotions.
Just about every single day now.
Right.
It matters.
Right? Yeah.
But,
so
yeah.
I mean, so with that, you got to a point where, obviously you have to make a decision. You graduate high school.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah, once I graduated high school, I was confused. Like completely confused. I didn't know about college. I didn't know about FAFSA. I had nobody to help me out and to like guide me in that direction. Like I was also a pretty big fuck up like in high school. Unfortunately, like I just didn't care. I was a kid because I had no accountability. Nobody cared for it. As long as I'm alive and I'm eating, that's fine. So I was like, man, I was just gapping off all 4 years, and now I'm here at this point. I'm graduating, barely graduating, and nowhere to go. My dad was like, okay, cool, you're graduating. Like, there was no next steps. And I remember I saw this dude. His name is Sergeant Rangel. And I saw this dude in these badass, this badass uniform. I didn't know the name at the time, but it was just the blues, the dress blues. And I was like, this dude looks fucking sick. I'm like, this dude looks completely different to like every other recruiter that was like, doing their thing or whatever. Everybody's in their camis and stuff and all dressed up like for war, but this guy looks like completely different. And I remember walking up to him. He was by himself doing his thing, and I was like, dude, what are you? What? How you do this? Like, where do I sign up? He, did the little pamphlet thing, like, this is what we are, this is who we are. He's like, it's not for everybody. Looks at me, he's like, and it probably ain't for you. And I was like,
that's a great sales pitch right there.
I was like, man, he's probably right. But then I took the pamphlet home. I told my dad, and he was like, go for it, bro. If you want to do it, I mean, I'll support you. Because he didn't really care enough, but he just wanted me to be happy in some shape or form. Went to go do the ASVAB test. Failed it completely. Terrible. Dumb. Did it 3 times until like I barely passed it. And he was like, all right, bro, you're in. And I was like, what job can I choose? He said, none. And I was like, what I qualify? You barely made it, bro. I was like, you're going to go open contract. And I was like, all right, cool.
Well, for the audience, for those that don't know, open contract means that the military basically chooses where they need you. So it could be anything. It has nothing to do with your ASVAB or what you're good at or what, skill set you have. It's like, nope, we're just going to put you where we need you, which a lot of times is either infantry or food service.
Yeah.
Which, that was me. Because I seed my way out all through the ASVAB and somehow passed it. But
you were like AC.
No, I seed my way like C.
Oh, like all
the way down. And somehow I passed. But that's a whole other story. But I understand where you're coming from. And so you go in open contract.
Yeah, I go in open contract, and then I think he gives me like 4 months to like prep. And then at the time, one of my best friends and mentor at the time, his name was Rick Rodriguez. He was a prior Marine as well, a veteran. He's like telling me not to do it, all these bad things, right? I'm still gonna do it. And I'm like, dude, you're either gonna help me or we're gonna sit here and bench moan and complain. And he's like, all right, let me get you in shape. Because I was pretty fat. I was like that skinny fat kind of like Mexican kid. I couldn't run, I couldn't do pull-ups, I couldn't do sit-ups, I couldn't do anything. So he'll take me out to Trinity Grove, which is right here, like by the bridge right here in Dallas, right? And he'll make me just sprint up and down every single morning at 5 a.m. up the hills that I do earn the sunrise, which is one of my events every Saturday morning in the exact same hill. And he'd run me for like 3 miles, 2 miles, and until like I couldn't. And then I'll try to quit, and then he was able to at least push me and build me up into like and get me ready to like actually enter boot camp. Because I was really out of shape. Once I got in the military, I think I went in October of 2014. Went through all the holidays. I think it was Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and just, I mean, sitting in the same rack that you've been in, and just looking outside and to the California mountains and seeing everybody like celebrating all their like, you know, like holidays, and just telling myself every single night, like, why did I do this? This shit sucks.
What was your job?
Oh, I did admin.
Okay, so you ended up being in administration.
I got administration for the first 4 years, and then I got the opportunity to actually do PsyOps. Like when I first like entered into like the unit that we were in, and I had no idea what it was, and we got that opportunity, and they're like, all right, we need somebody, and I was able to do like their fast course pace and fast paced course, and graduate, and I became their translator for that deployment that we went on.
And where'd you deploy to?
To Guatemala, was it Belize? Guatemala, Belize. There's one more. Damn.
No, it's all good.
But yeah.
Yeah, but the fact is you deployed to some different countries.
Yeah.
So you came from Oak Cliff,
Mm-hmm.
went down to Mexico with your mom, came back up,
Yep.
stayed with your dad, where that relationship was kind of sour.
Yeah.
But then you joined the Marine Corps, and now you're deploying and going to different countries to be a translator doing psychological operations.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Amazing. So it comes time for you to get to your 4-year mark. Because you did 4 years, or
Yeah, I did. So I did 6 years.
you did 6 years.
Yeah.
So it started to come to your 6-year mark, to your end of active service, and you decided that.
Yeah, and I decided after my 6 years, I was like, you know what? I try to re-up, and I really, really wanted to stay in. But then whenever I went to do my contract to re-up again, they said, you know, either you can't do any of the B billets, which is, you know, drill instructor, you know, combat instructor, all that other stuff.
Recruiting.
And recruiting. And I really wanted to be a recruiter. And they said no because of my tattoos at the time. And I was like, damn. He's like, well, if you like to try, we can re-up you for admin. You do another 4 years and then try again. And I was like, man, I don't want to stay another 4 years to do admin. Got out. I was married at the time. My wife and I at the time, we moved from Virginia back to Dallas during COVID time. And we already had I already had a job set up doing IT procurement for this company in Irving.
So you got out of the Marine Corps in 2020?
2018.
2018.
2018.
Okay, so you got out in 2018, and then you started, you said you had a job lined up.
We had a job lined up at the time, and it was a really good paying job. Everything was already being set. And then, of course, you know, COVID hit once I already got out, and I did that job. And, of course, the first people to go are the new hires at the time. So they unfortunately fired us, jobless, moved in with my parents again. I had 2 dogs with my wife at the time. We're sharing this small, like, just about like this, like, just super small room.
Wow.
Stayed there for, I would say, a good year. A good year or so. And I was like, you know what? At that time, I was like, I don't know what to do. There's nothing to do. It's COVID. So I was like, let me just try anything. And I was able to get a job doing car sales, which was my first experience to actually communicating with people and actually getting a lot of no's and people who are pissed off at me for no reason.
So that's where you got maybe some sales training from.
Yeah, I took it very seriously. I loved it. I thought it was one of the best jobs I ever had in my life. Like being able to sell cars and just like talk to people all day, every day. And then working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., I actually enjoyed it. Because there was just a lot of money with it, of course. And then just the experience of actually speaking to people. One of the few people who, you know, a lot of people say they hate people. I actually love people. And I love actually enjoying conversation with random ass people.
So then once you got done with that, and you're selling cars, you have a young child,
I do.
young boy, right? How old's your son?
Ezekiel is about to be 3.
Okay.
Yeah, he's about to be 3.
About to be 3. Look at you light up when you talk about your son, man.
Man, it's a blessing. I mean, when you sent me that message about like how to do for Father's Day, that was a big reflection. 'Cause Father's Day was not fun.
Yeah. Well, we as fathers, shout out to all the great fathers out there, by the way.
Big shout out.
We as fathers, we have an armor that a lot of people don't know. Mothers have their armors as well, but it's a different armor, if you ask me. Fathers are, we have this armor that we have to put on because at the end of the day, it's like everybody's always going to look at when a child between a father and a mother, who's the more important to the child, everybody looks at it as the mother is the most important. Yeah. But us fathers, we take a beating.
We have our own battles, as you would know.
But I know you're a great dude, man. You're a great father. So, regardless of what happens, you're a great dad. So now that you're at that point now, where you're doing car sales. How'd you get into the fitness industry?
Oh man, that's such a funny story, man. I remember I had quit that sales job. Mm-hmm. I started doing a managing position for some warehouse, and then I got let go because of COVID again, and I just kept getting like crappy jobs, and I was like, you know what? All this money we got from COVID, I was like, let me just give it a shot. Like I've been doing training, I've been working out, I've been powerlifting. Like that was already part of my lifestyle, in a hobby, and I was trying to like build that career up by just taking on people for free, like hitting up all my friends, like, hey, let me do programs for you, let me do nutrition, da 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 da. Of course, some people like, nah, like don't really care. And then the very few I did, that's how I slowly started budging more into like actually in the industry. And then I got my shot, which one of my friends, he put me on with this private studio. Small little place, underground in downtown. And that dude, he gave me a shot, and he was like, all right, just go get certified legally, come train, and, you do your thing. We'll give you clients. You don't have to do nothing. You just show up, do your job, and call it a day. I was like, bet. Get paid to work out, train people, and it was a really good environment. And then after, of course, a couple months of like waking up at like 4:30 every morning, getting my 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 clients like throughout the day back to back. And that was already a 30-minute drive where I lived. And then as well as I would have to come back for my 5, 6, 7, and maybe sometimes 8 p.m. clients like every day. And then I kept noticing like, man, this paycheck, I was like, it's looking a little funny here. I was like, why is this only $100 for like 2 weeks of like training? Something like super low. And then I was like, I came up to the owner and I was like, dude, I'm like, what is like in a sense the pay? Because I didn't really know because he just gave me the shot. And I was just too excited. He's like, yeah, well, we take like 80 or 90% of the cut. You just take the 10% for like whatever because we're giving you the clients. And I was like, that sucks. I was like, I'm doing all this work. And don't get me wrong, I loved everybody I had at that time. And it was not fulfilling. And I had no idea that there was other avenues in the industry. Like I was just so locked in thinking like almost like big box gym style. And that was it.
Well, this is one of the biggest reasons as well as why I have this podcast is to get this type of information out so that people can see that it's not just Mark saying it.
Yeah.
And here we are. Baby Jesus is saying it as well.
Yeah, I was confused. I had no idea there was so many different ways.
So what'd you do?
So then I remember I was like, all right, let me play my cards right. Let me learn. And so I sat as many times as I can with this guy. And I'm like, if this dude can do it, why can't I? And I'm like, we would bump heads a lot because we were both just alphas. And I would just try to, help him out in some shape or form or like give him ideas. He would be like, nah. And I'm like, we just have those little, those knucklehead moments. And so just over time, I was like, you know what? Let me stop bitching. Let me try to learn from this dude. Like he's doing something right. He has a good house. He has a good marriage. He has a good business going on. He has a side business going on. He has all these employees. he's doing something right. So I'm sitting just asking the right questions, like how'd you do it, what you do, throughout the whole couple of weeks. After I gathered, a good amount of like knowledge, and I was like, you know what? Let me try it on my own. Worst case scenario, I fail. Best case scenario, it works out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that leap, that jump. And I was like, dude, I love y'all. Thank you for the opportunity, but it's my time. And I'm like, there's a lot that I need to do. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I appreciate y'all. And if you ever need anything, 1 text away.
Mm-hmm.
Went on my own and did independent contracting for the first time. Found a facility.
Well, stay right there because I want to lead into that.
Okay.
You're now an independent contractor.
Yep.
What did you do at that point? Now, where did you go? What'd you do?
So I went to this facility out in Grand Prairie.
Mm-hmm.
And
what year is this now?
2020.
All right.
I was going to say 2020 now. Yeah. Yeah, 2019, I think. Yeah, no, 2020, because we're in 2024 now. Yeah, I think around 2020, I found this facility. They needed a trainer, and they asked me at the time, because I would go train there every once in a while. And I loved it. I loved the atmosphere. I loved everything about it. It was like cool warehouse style gym, like my vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Like not what I was used to. And I was like, dude, this is dope. Powerlifting's here. Like all the stuff I loved. And I asked him, well, what does it take to, be here? He's like, oh, you just got to pay this amount of rent for a month. And then, of course, you get all these little benefits. And then, you do your thing. And I was like, okay. Sounds like a good deal. And that was like the first time starting that independent contracting route was just, I guess, asking the right questions to be allowed in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like after building that clientele and just posting on social media and, of course, using that facility as much as they would use me, give and take so we can help each other out, I was able to build a lot in a very short amount of time. I was like hosting powerlifting events, like ran them all by myself, and of course with the help that after I delegated everything, brought in all these members, built the community, built the powerlifting teams, brought in all the great ideas to make this gym more successful, and that was like my first real experience of like entrepreneurship, like doing everything on my own with of course like the right people and the right community and stuff like that, and I would say that was the first time getting that.
And then what happened after that? I mean, you obviously sound like it was being very successful.
There's a saying that I have, like, I guess that I learned.
Mm-hmm.
People are fickle.
Mm.
Right? One of my good friends and athlete, her name's Alyssa, right? Shout out to Alyssa.
Shout out Alyssa. She's awesome.
She's great.
Yeah.
Is that, people are fickle.
Mm. What does that mean?
I guess in our terms, right? Two-faced.
I got it. There you go. Right? I got to draw this out of you, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, if you don't have to disclose all, the specifics, but you basically had a situation where you had to part ways.
Yeah.
Right? Because somebody was being shady.
Shady as fuck.
Yeah. So then, at this point, you had to also
figure it the fuck out. I did. God, that's where it started.
Right? So, is that how me and you met?
That is exactly how you and I met, man.
Oh, we're leading into that part of the story. Okay. So here comes Baby Jesus, right?
Swiped up.
Go ahead. Talk about it. Yeah, he slid in my DMs. Go ahead. Talk about it.
Yeah, after that whole drama situation with that other facility and, people sucking in just short terms, I was lost. Had nowhere to go. Had no money. My reputation was gone. My clients were gone. My friends were gone. Very select few people stayed with me at that time. And
well, you had actually came to me before the shit really hit the fan.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, because you came to me and I gave you a tour of Self-Made Training Facility. Obviously I had a little soft spot for you because you were a Marine. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'm always, a little more, I would say.
Lenient?
Yeah. towards Marines because we have a special bond. All Marines do, regardless of race, demographic, doesn't matter. So I remember, and I'm going to tell my side of the story real quick if you don't mind. But what I remember is you coming in and you were very confident. You seemed very confident. You seemed very professional. The way you spoke, very respectful. And I was like, oh yeah, I like this guy. This guy's good. And then I remember somebody had came to me and said, hey, look out for that guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what about? Oh, he's in some stuff. And I think maybe a day later, it popped up on my social media.
Yeah.
People talking smack about you.
Yeah.
And then you immediately called me, actually. I didn't even call you. You called me. And you were like, hey, just to let you know. And that's where you told me the situation that was going on.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I told you?
Oh, excuse me. There's a lot of things.
What was the thing that I told you right then and there?
That you don't want, I think, anything messing with the...
Don't bring no heat to my house.
Yeah. Don't bring no heat to your house.
So what I told you was, I said, why don't you let the heat die down? And if all works out, then we'll continue this mission. We'll continue together, this partnership. But I'm going to need you to let your heat die down.
Yeah.
Don't bring no heat to my house. And what that means is that I didn't need any drama in my gym.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I was already dealing with cultivating a culture that I didn't want anything messing that up. And, but I told you, because I believe in giving people grace, giving them an opportunity. I was a person who made mistakes in my past, and I always seeked out opportunities and grace because I have good character.
Yeah.
I just made mistakes.
Yeah.
I saw the same in you. Something about you made me say, give the dude a chance. I think it was because of how respectful you were and how professional you were when you came in to speak to me. And the fact that you called me and I didn't have to chase you down to figure out what was going on. Because you had already signed the contract to be a trainer at Self-Made Training Facility.
I think it was like 1 day.
It was like 1-2 days maybe that went by, and this happened after you signed the contract. And then I basically told you couldn't work there until the heat died down.
Yeah.
Then what?
The saddest moment of my life. Well, one of the very saddest moments of my life. Man, I remember, we had that call, and you told me, we can't continue. And I was like, fuck, this is like it was my last shot. Like, I had nothing else. And I remember sitting at the edge of my couch that I still have now and just looking out to my new apartment that I had just leased because thinking I had the funds to pay it. And a new bike and everything. I had all these nicer things. And I was just thinking in my head, I'm not going to be able to make this. I'm like, I have nothing. Everything's gone. Lost in the matter of like less than a week. Disappeared. All my hard work gone. I cried my heart out. It was tough. And I had that. Took me, I would say, a good day of sitting in my sorrows and crying my little heart out. And I was like, you know what? And it's kind of funny. I don't remember I said figure it the fuck out, but I said I need to do some shit. I need to do something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
I need to either.
So as this time went on, this was June of 2022. And as a couple months went by, one thing that I wouldn't say continuously, but I think maybe 2 or 3 times during that couple months, I reached out to you just to see how you were doing. And I was like, because at this point, you're a Marine. We take care of our Marines.
Yeah.
Regardless if we're retired or whatever. We never leave a Marine behind. So I was like, hey, you good? And you would vent to me.
Yeah.
We'd talk and
I talked to you like if I knew you my whole life.
Yeah, and we were like, hey, you know what? And then I would advise you, like, I knew you my whole life. Hey, you'll get through it. Give it some time. The heat will come down, because it always does.
Yep.
And then we'll go ahead and pick this up. But you need to not react.
Yep.
You need to stay calm, stay collective. And you followed that. So fast forward now, August of 22, you were like, I called you actually.
Yeah.
I said, hey, are you ready now? is the heat down? And you said the heat's down. I hadn't seen anything on social media myself.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm going to give you that opportunity. Don't mess this up.
Man, you had my heart going like this the whole time whenever I got that call, because I was at a different place that I was already leaving, and I was just like, it was just not the dynamics that I thought it would be, and it was just terrible everywhere I go. I felt like a little kid getting kicked out of his homes, like in different places. Mm-hmm. And when I got that call, and I got all giddy, and I was just like, fuck. And I was talking to Leslie at the time, which is my partner, and I was just like, oh my God, I got this. I can go back to self-made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I told you when you came in, I think I had a very serious talk with you where I told you, this is your opportunity. Don't fuck it up. You're going to come in here and you're going to make a shit happen.
Yeah.
All that drama is behind you. Now it's time to move forward. We ain't got time for all that shit. We got time to make money, and we got time to bring value to clients.
Yep.
That's what we're about. And you said, I got it. And my man, you took off like a bat out of hell. I'm like, geez, man. I was like expecting some sort of struggle, but I mean, you took off like a bat out of hell.
You gave me the green light.
I mean, you can speak it. I mean, you built a very lucrative business. You've got team members now, trainers under your charge.
Yeah.
Crazy. And you've had tremendous results with your clients to where you have built a whole community around your business and your brand. Speak about that.
Man, well, we were just talking about it yesterday. But like I love my brand standing right. It's like I build strong women, right? And I got all. I mean, I owe it a lot to you, to be honest. Like a lot of like the way that we've, that I was able to set up everything was a lot from your guidance, your recommendations. Of course, books and stuff that I've read my own, and like different methods I kept trying and learning and stuff. And it was just like, all right, I need to create something that I love, that I'm passionate about, which is powerlifting. Hit a target audience that I know is struggling to get into this like niche, which is like strength, especially being a woman. Like nobody thinks women are that strong, or especially all our macho man.
When it comes to physicality,
yeah,
not so much strong as in mentally or with education or spiritually or any of that, or even emotionally.
Yeah,
but about physical, like legitimately physical strength and being able to lift heavy, like powerlifting. So when you say I make strong women, that's what it pertains to. It's like you want to make women stronger in powerlifting, and have you done so?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
and we've gone.
How many team members do you have on your team right now?
So I created like my community team, right, which is Dallas Strength District. It's a community of coaches who are all like-minded individuals that I support and lead, and we all help each other out because they all have their own brands as well, and that's the whole purpose of it, to be able to help them out. And we have about 5. We have 5 members in the team, right? We have Daisy, Nicole, Leslie, Eli, Nick, and we have all from like nutritionists to we have help with massage therapy, we have bodybuilding, we have powerlifting, the whole works.
And how many clients are running through Dallas Strength District right now?
I would say as whole, I would say about easily like 120.
120.
And the whole team, yes.
Come on, man.
About 120. That's what all 5 of us.
Come on, man. You serious right now?
Yeah.
I'm so damn proud of you. and it's amazing because did you hear your own story? When you sat here and you just explained it, did you hear your own story?
Kind of. I did. It's
do you
unbelievable.
See where you're at today in comparison to all those moments?
It's tough.
Yeah? It's tough to see it?
It's tough to see it. I see it, and I know what it is, and I know all the struggles, but it's hard to believe it.
Well, good. Rewatch this video.
Oh, I will. I will.
So now you have Dallas Strength District. You also have Baby Gesus Training, which is your own training.
My
so
own
then
thing,
Dallas Strength District encompasses everybody together. You have competed since you've been a self-made training facility. Now it's coming up on a year.
Yeah.
Right? And in a year, you've competed in how many meets with your clients, I mean?
We've done 4.
4 meets.
4 meets.
And you've taken how many first place trophies? Come on, man. Data and numbers, bro.
I know, man. I think first place trophies, I would say at least 8 or 10.
8 to 10 first place trophies in 4 meets.
And then out of all of those, at least every single one of them placed in like second or third.
Wow. So that means your training's obviously effective.
Yes, I would highly believe. I think so.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, and you've competed.
I have, yeah.
So you competed in powerlifting as well.
Yep.
And then you did your first
bodybuilding
show.
And actually in prep for my second bodybuilding show.
Now you're going to 2 So not only do you have your people doing, what they do, but then you're leading by example as well.
Yeah. Every single day.
Beautiful.
Like I'm a true believer that I'm not going to tell people what to do or guide them in the direction if I have not been in that place.
Yeah.
Right? Either from running to strongman, to powerlifting, to bodybuilding, to CrossFit style kind of like events, anything.
And it's amazing because it's important for people to understand. Like we've sat here and we've talked about a lot of your woes, a lot of the things that actually went down in your lifetime, and you have steadily figured it the fuck out
every fucking day, trying.
And I'm sure with many hardships on a daily basis, because that's business, right? Business is a constant roller coaster.
What do you always say? There's always something every day.
Every day there's something new. That's my song, man. That's my song because every day there's something new. But I think that's the fun part.
Yeah.
I was actually just talking to a great friend of mine. Shout out Ivan Soto. I just was talking to him today. And he's, retired from the military, and he's in the getting into the personal training world.
Yeah.
And of course, he reaches out to me like, hey, I need some guidance, man. He was working at a big box corporate gym, and he just quit.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, that's horrible. And I said, I told you didn't want to listen to me, but I told you. But the one thing that I told him is I said, we Marines have a skill set that a lot of people don't actually realize that when we get out into the civilian world. And that is a tremendous amount of leadership experience. Right? And if you capitalize on that leadership experience, it could be very lucrative. Right? Great friend of mine, Cale Owen, shout out Cale Owen. He actually told me the best leaders move with overwhelming speed.
Like just hyper driven.
Is that you?
I feel it every day.
Right?
I wake up and there's I know you have the same thoughts process that I do.
Yeah.
What can I do better?
Yeah.
Or what can be better?
You've hosted charity events.
Yeah.
You've done charity events for who?
I've done charity events for Wounded Warrior Foundation. We did one for Toys for Tots. We did one for pit bulls. I love that.
And I love you for that. Shout out to all my pit bull owners out there.
That was for my Miss Luna, which is my pit bull. Miss Toon.
Well, then I got to shout out
Coco
Leo
Coco.
Max. I got you. They even got their own Instagram, Coco Leo Max. So, anyways, but go ahead. Yes, my dogs have their own Instagram. Don't judge. Okay.
Do you run it or?
No, I don't. My wife does. Those are her babies. So, but they get people, other dogs that slide into their DMs. So, anyways, so with that, let's talk about the other charities.
Yeah.
But you did one, the one with the run.
Yeah, we did for Pasos for Oak Cliff. That's the nonprofit that I really, really, really connected with. And the owner is Jesse, and he has this I love his nonprofit because it hits home where I'm from.
Yeah,
and it hits an actual meaningful thing that they actually love, which is sneakers. That's what Pasos for Oak Cliff does. They give kids who've never had a nice pair of sneakers, and they give it to them for free, just for of course, being academically smart, trying in school, and they run all these amazing programs. And he's a teacher himself, and that was and we hosted a 5K with One Life Nutrition and myself. Shout out to Andrew.
Andrew's a good dude.
Love Andrew.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. So what's next? So, you're making good money, right? More than you ever made before?
Way more.
Way more than you ever made before.
Thankfully.
You've got a great team who you're leading the charge.
Yep.
What's next for Dallas Strength District and Baby Gesus Training?
it's hard. We had a plan. And like we talked about a couple days ago or yesterday, learning how to pivot when the plan doesn't go right or the way that we think it's supposed to go. The goal is to open up a gym, like a facility myself called Dallas Strength District. That is the end goal. And it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
I know it will.
Because you're going to do what?
Figure it the fuck out.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
We've had some hardships and, of course, this takes time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time and effort. And just when things don't go right, as they haven't sometimes, learning how to pivot.
Yep.
Right?
Pivot and reach.
Pivot and reach. And then with that as well, Dallas Strength District, the goal is to continuously on at the moment for this year and probably next year, of course, other than building the gym, is more charity events, impacting more lives. And it sounds corny, and every time I say it, but it's true. It's like my goal is to at least reach and change someone's life, one person at a time, and change all their behaviors, not just through nutrition, not just through fitness, and like be that person, that mentor for them, to be able to at least impact one more other person that I don't have access to, but they do. And that brings at least one good person. I can add one more valuable asset to society. Because all people do is take. But not a lot of people are able to give.
Well, I definitely love the way you framed that, man, because you've got a great mission.
Yeah.
And I know you. I've had plenty of talks with you.
Almost every day.
And one of the things I will say is that you're always going to continue to push forward, regardless of what hits you.
Right? We figured it the fuck out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you can give one piece of advice to the audience, those that are watching this, now they hear your story. They see where you're at. They see that you're making more money than you ever made before. You're happy.
I am.
Even though you have the trials and tribulations, you're a happy individual.
Yeah.
You've got good people around you, right? You know those that care for you. You know those that don't.
Absolutely.
Right? And you're building your business and you're helping other people become better in their lives. What's one gem that you would give to the audience to take with them?
One gem.
And please look at that camera and let them know.
One gem that I would be able to leave with the audience is, there's so many, but lead by example. Like, show people that you're capable of doing what you said you are doing. Have undeniable proof that you say you are who you say you are. And I learned that from Alex Ramosi.
There you go. Is that it?
And one more thing.
Go ahead.
Don't be scared to go do other shit. Like, I started a cleaning business. I started a vending machine business. Like, you can literally, and Daisy told me this, and I love Daisy for this. You can literally do whatever you want with the right people and the right mindset.
Yes. Absolutely. I love that. My man, Baby Jesus.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I appreciate you showing up, being here, man. Great story.
Appreciate it.
Great story. Keep it moving because we got other things to come. We got more to grow. So I love it. All right. So with that being said, what do you think they should do? Well, what you should do is like, share, and subscribe the Project FITFO podcast. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. So please let everybody know about it. This is episode, I think, 17. I mean, we're getting up there now.
You're moving.
Yeah, we're moving, right?
Hyperspeed.
And I want to bring stories like yours to this platform. So I thank you for being here.
I appreciate that.
Please, again, like, share, subscribe. Tell everybody about this. Watch the past episodes. Go back. Listen to great people like Baby Jesus over here. And, continue to grow. And with that, always remember to figure it the fuck out. And we're out of here.
Peace.
Hey. That's that music right there.
That's that elevator pitch music.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, there we go.
I'm a bigger problem when I click with Skrillex. Murder on my mind, it's time to pray to God. My revolver's not religious, the revolution.